Welcome to today's webinar all about the project management system within your CRM. I'm really excited to show you about the project manager because it's such a versatile feature that we offer, and it includes everything you need to manage your internal team, the projects and tasks that are associated with that, as well as any of your client updates, including the billing and keeping the project moving from start all the way to completion. So you have full tracking across the entire project, and you can really notify anyone in your team or your clients on the progress. So let's get started. What we'll be covering today includes the benefits of the project manager. We'll go over how the project manager really helps you elevate your remote working and keeping that cohesive team. We have a project manager breakdown. We'll define the project and the task categories, so what your project entails. So we'll define the project categories and the task categories about what that entails. We'll go through assigning the project team, who are your managers, who is your team going to be working on this project, creating the project with the tasks and the different stages. We'll go over the different reporting options that we offer, and then we'll wrap up with a review and a quick recap of the project manager. So let's get started. My name is Madison Potter. I'm on the marketing and implementation team over here at GreenRope. My direct line is madison@greenrope.com, or you can find us at Instagram or LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. So management, above all, is a practice where art, science, and craft meet. This quote by Henry is great. It just shows you how, even though you're working on something creative like your project, whatever it could be, either you're building a house, you're doing a website design or redesign, your project is whatever you're wanting it to be. But the management comes in when you take all those pieces and you create a streamlined way to achieve that end outcome for your clients and your team. So the benefits of using a project manager include opening up that communication among your team with all of your ongoing projects. It's more than likely that you're not just working on one client at a time and you have multiple projects working. And so being able to notify the team members, assign them tasks, really opens that communication about what to prioritize. It's a great tool for accountability, budgeting your hours and time, and also just efficiency with moving through the project. Because it's such a streamlined process, and you assign project teams, the tasks, and when are they due. The real-time updates of the project, you can get notified and you can track the progress towards completion. Each project does have a time tracker, so you can track the time for not only each project update, but you can associate it with the task that you're working on. And this just really collects that valuable information. In the project manager, you can also enable email notifications for updates when it's made within a specific project that you're working on. And you can directly connect to the contact CRM record because it's fully integrated into our system, as well as into many other features. So it connects to the contact, which is the client that you're working on, as well as the specific employee that is working on your specific task. So when it comes to remote working, the project manager is a really great way to easily track your client billing based on the amount of hours worked from your team. You easily notify your team of your project updates and your progress. And for your internal team management and accountability, you can assign specific tasks, notify them, keep track of all the related communication, the detailed reporting based on the hours worked, the updates made, outstanding tasks associated. So we'll go through all that reporting that you can use to keep your team accountable and manage it. You can see the real-time updates of the project and how it's working towards completion, where it is right now, what needs to be done. And so you can give your clients a timeline, or you can update them on how your team is working towards completion. And then again, since it is fully integrated into your CRM, it does collect all these valuable information, all the communication points, and it really helps you when you're running your business remotely. Okay, so let's dive into about the project manager. So how does it work inside the system? So the project manager allows you to create projects. Each project can have a list of tasks, which includes a checklist, to-do list, due dates, alerts. So about the project manager. So inside the project manager, you can create your projects. Each project has a list of tasks, which can include a checklist, due dates. You can set up alerts specific to those tasks. Then you can assign the project and the task to specific members on your team. All they need to do is be a shared access user inside the specific group, and then you can assign them to the project at hand. You'll visually track the progress of each project using both the Kanban boards and the Gantt charts that automatically populate based on how the project is evolving. Then you can add updates as the project develops. So have your whole team, you can receive weekly updates. You can notify the team once an update has been submitted to really keep that communication open. And then the project deadlines that you specify for each task or project, these are automatically posted to your group's calendar within the CRM. So you can track that on a calendar basis automatically. And then securely publish individual projects and tasks to anyone with an email address so they can stay up to date and collaborate with your team on specific projects. So this is great if you're using any contractors or want to share it with a client to be involved in your projects. You can share this securely with an outside email address as well. So number 2, setting up the project manager. So this is just about the organization and what are the different defining aspects. So the first point would be to define your project admins. So project administrators are different from shared access users in the sense that they now have access to create new projects for this group and assign tasks to other contacts. So the project admins will need to be shared access users inside this group, but then within the project itself, you can assign individual people to be project admins to work in the project manager more. Next, you'll define your project categories. So the categories are the types of grouping or classification that your projects will be associated with. Just the higher level bucket on kind of the types of project categories that you are working for your team. Inside those projects, you can also have different task categories. So these task categories are useful when you're needing to calculate the hourly billable project. So you can add a monetary value to your tasks by creating these categories. So for example, when you create a project update, you can associate it with a specific category, which then tracks how much hours and how much to bill the client based on these categories here. And then you'll also define the task stages. So all the tasks that you create within the project, they need to move through different stages from creation to completion. So once these task stages are defined here in the task stages tab, the Kanban board will then be updated with these headings so you can visually see how the project is moving along. So we'll dive into the system and I'll show you how that works. So before we dive into the system to show you how that works, I want to quickly cover the key levels of permissions when you are structuring your team inside the project manager. So firstly, like we covered earlier, we have the project admins, which we call the power admins. These are shared access users that you can give the ability to create new projects and assign tasks to other contacts. Next, each project can have a dedicated manager. So this will be assigned inside each project inside the settings area. And if any of the tasks go unassigned, they default to this person as the point of contact. And then lastly, you can construct your team using shared access members in this group. So the contacts for the project manager will receive updates get assigned to tasks, update the project manager, and work with inside this project as part of the team. So let's dive into GreenRope, and I can walk you through how the project manager looks and works. So from inside your GreenRope account, hover over. So from inside your GreenRope account, before we dive into the project, you will see that all of the upcoming projects and tasks can be shown right from the home dashboard. Here you can see what's assigned to yourself and overdue. I'll show you how to create these, but you can see it right from the dashboard, and if it's assigned to another person on your team as well. Another way that your team can get notified is if you scroll down, you'll have the activities coming soon. So from inside your GreenRope account, you can access the project manager by going over apps and then selecting projects. This is the main project screen, and where you can see each of the projects are in their own buckets. The project includes the name, a description, how many updates or hours have been budgeted for this project, open tasks, the manager, and anyone assigned. You'll see the category of what it is associated with, and then you can track the progress of completion right from here, and then identify the priority of this project. So how you adjust these settings right here would be inside the settings area. This is where you'll define the name. You can associate a specific color with your project at hand and add a description. Here you can associate it with a specific contact within your CRM. So if you're working with a client, you would associate it with that contact and keep the connection moving back and forth between their CRM record. You can also activate the weekly email updates for your project team and assign a specific project manager for this project. Then right below here, you have all of the team members that can be added into the project, or you can add a new contact to the group. So by activating each person, you can then add them and assign them into the project manager. You can activate all contacts or deactivate them all. Right here is where you define your specific project category that is created right here. Next, you'll have a start date and a due date for the project, and these dates would be displayed in that calendar inside your account. And then how many hours are you budgeting for the event can be based on, the tracking of how well you're moving towards the progress. And then depending on the priority of this ticket, this is just for your internal reference to see what to focus on, and that's the priority of each ticket project here. So once you save that, you will from this page, you can also create a brand new project where you will outline the name, color category, the due dates, and basically everything within that settings tab. When you are creating a new project, you do have the option of creating and copying over the tasks from a previous project. This allows you, if you are, creating client designs, you do have a similar structure and specific tasks that need to be accomplished. So copying over these tasks allow you to go in and kind of work from a template of sorts. And then you'll create your project. When it comes to the project, okay. So each project also has a timer associated. So the timer right here is a custom URL link that would open up this page regardless. So your team can easily track their hours by bookmarking this link. And inside here, you can either play an audio reminder every 10 minutes. You'll start the project timer when you start working on it. You can add your project updates on basically what you worked on, what are you needing clarity on, just kind of an update for you to keep track of what you are using during this time. Once you've added your project updates, you can associate it with a specific task that's connected to you specifically. So if it's finding speakers for the event, you can associate it with that task and then notify the team members of this update as well. You can pause and stop and play the timer, and this is just going to be for your reference. No one on your team will get notified until you check that box and update the project. So the project manager is a really great way that you can start a new timer session, track your hours on this project. So now if we go into the details area of the project, you'll see the different tasks that are associated, which I could have selected from. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the new project update that we just submitted. It tells you when you stopped and started the project and worked on it. And you have up to 20 minutes, if you are not a power user, to go in here and make any updates to your project. You can update this. You can also update the time that you actually took for up to 20 minutes until it becomes uneditable unless you are a power user. So to create a new task for your project, click on Create Add Task. You will add the task description, how many hours are budgeted for this specific task. If you want to send yourself an email reminder when it's due. You also have the task category, which are those billable tasks that you can connect to a contact, and so you can charge your clients. Assign it to a specific member on your team. The start dates are based on a specific date that you're working on. If it's relevant, relative to let's say 2 days or business days from a specific reference point. So you can do the start or the end of any task in your list. So as soon as you find the speakers as soon as you create the email list of attendees, this project starts 2 days after that happens. So you can also set the same on the due dates. You can have a specific date or make it relative to any one of your reference points, such as end of project or something in between. Another way besides the timer that your team can come in and make a project update, which is to manually update the project. Here you can associate if you're waiting on Another way that your team can track if their project update would be to manually click Add Project Update here. You can also use the timer. You'll specify if you are waiting on a specific person. Another way that your team can add their update to this project would be to add a project update button right here. You can change the project status. You can specify if you're waiting on anybody on your team or a third party. And then you can add your project update below. Whatever it may be, you can add pictures, videos, button links, anything you needed in here. You can also select a file to upload. Here, you can also associate it with a specific task just to keep track, and then add how many hours you worked on this project. So just to show you an example of how the tasks are notifying your team, let's say we add a task to send the quote over to the clients to begin the work or to work on anything that you're doing here. What you'll do is you assign it to the specific team member that you want to notify. And then you can add a date or a milestone. Since I want to show you an example, we can have it due today. And start today. And then you can also send a notification to your task assignee. So whoever you assign that for. In this page, you can also see all the tasks, or you can just limit it to just the task associated with yourself. And you'll see how many hours you've worked so far based on the budgeted hours, and just keep track of all that. So as an example of where this would show, right on the home page, as soon as your team logs in, they will be able to see that new task that you're assigned to them. So it's assigned to my account owner based on what it is, and you can click on there to open up the project details and get more information about what it's for. Another way your team can see the projects would be inside the widgets on the main home dashboard. So if you click into it, you can see what projects that you're working on, and you can click into any of these project options to, update this. If you have a checklist associated with the task, you can see what options are here. You can add notifications, and you can track your project task completion. To edit this checklist, if you click on edit here, you'll see the checklist items that you can create. And then you can also mark them as done to see where you are based on the item checklist that you're working on. So each task can also have a checklist associated. So here you'll see we're 3/4 of the way done. We've done 3 tasks before we can move on to the next one. And since it was due yesterday, we can just complete it here. Another way that your team can also see the projects they're working on could also be within the expanded dashboard. So any of these dashboards can be customized to really pull the chart that you are wanting right to the forefront. So the expanded dashboard is another way that just shows you the upcoming tasks that are assigned to you or anybody on your team. And you can click into any of these to open up the project. And then along the right here, you'll also see the notification within your to-do list for what's coming up. So to customize any of these dashboards, it should be at the bottom of all of the pages. There's a customized dashboard option for you and each shared access user to customize their own dashboard. So just a quick recap before we do go back into the presentation. First, you want to assign your project admin, so the people on your team that you want to kind of give the permissions to create and assign these tasks. You create your project categories, so the big overarching categories on where the project falls. And then you can assign the billable hours for your different task categories. And then the task stages on how your project is moving from initiation to completion is right here. And basically what these do, if you go into the Kanban board, these are going to create the headings and move your project along. From the Kanban board, you can also move it to the next stage and see many reportings from here, which I will show you inside the webinar. So let's go over some reporting and tracking of your progress. So right within the projects tab where we were, you can click on the viewing area. This shows you the different types of reports based on your active projects, your completed projects, or overall projects. You can see open tasks by category, contact, or completed tasks by category or contact. You can also see any of the project updates that a person on your team has made, or track the hours of your team members. So this would be good if you are also using the project manager to do your employee time card. So for example, if you're using a virtual assistant, you can create a project for them and they can update the project when they're working with your business. So you can go into the project, see how many hours they worked on, what they worked on, and pay them accordingly. Then you can also use the filtering option. So you can filter based on any other category projects that you're working on, or if you're waiting on any person, those will all show within the filtering section. And then right to the right of that, you'll also be able to manually type in and search for projects that way. So the Gantt chart is more of that visual timeline representation that accumulates based on the due dates and start dates of your projects. So from this page, if you hover over any of the options, it'll give you a breakdown on where it is in the progress stage, when it starts and ends, how far along is the project, and who owns the project, who is the manager. You can also adjust the zoom to be 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, year to date, and other options there. And then you can also just do a time frame range on the top right to see the different projects and how they are working towards completion. Along the bottom, you can also adjust the zoom, more of a manual, to see how long the projects are working and how you wanted to do that. And all these charts and reportings throughout the system can always be downloaded externally. So click on the 3 horizontal icon to download PNG, JPEG, PDF, or even into Excel or CSV. And like we showed earlier, so the Kanban board is a really great way to visually see each of the tasks with a color-coded project at the forefront. So by showing all the project tasks, you can then streamline this list by specific tasks for each different project that you're working on. And then you can also show the project tasks by different people on your team that are working. So you'll see their types of open tasks and how many tasks have been completed per person. And then from here, you can also export this into Excel once you've filtered and want to get a visual representation or more details there. And then each of these little buckets are their own project task. You'll see here that you can click and move around each of them to move them into a different stage. You can add comments, questions, or any additional information right from this page. You can see how many checklist items and where you are. You can also edit anything from here as well. And then if you click on the blue link icon, it will open up that actual project task for the main page. So I know we covered a lot, just a really quick recap on what we discussed within the project manager. So first and foremost, you want to define your projects. You want to have your project administrators. So these are the people that can create the projects and assign the tasks. The project categories, so the big buckets on how your projects are being categorized. Your task categories, which is how you're going to assign a billable amount to the different types of tasks that you're working on. And then the task stages defines how the project is moving from start to finish. Next, we'll have the project settings. So this is where you create the name and description of your project. You'll create the progress and the updates, the due dates, and all that information in there. You can set up the email updates, and then you'll also assign a project manager and a team for your specific projects. The project details area is where you can create and assign these specific tasks. This is where you add your project updates and you manage the project and time, all within the details of that project. We also use the project timer, so that's that custom URL for tracking the hours. This is directly connects to the update with a specific task, and it all integrates together. And then you can also associate this project timer with a specific task and track the progress towards completion. Notifying your team can happen on a lot of different ways. You will send email notifications for the updates. You can do the notifications for assigned when they're assigned to a task. These tasks will be shown on the contact's to-do list and in their dashboards. Also, they'll get an email notification. And then you can also add them into comments and details surrounding the project. And then overall, just organization of the project. So we like to store projects into a specific group. Then you can assign individuals on your team custom access into this group. We'll use color codes for the projects, the users, or the different categories that you're using, and then assign budgets and deadlines to help make your project more cohesive and really keep it on track and manage it. So a quote by Winston Churchill, those who plan to do better than those who do not plan So a quote by Winston Churchill, those who plan to do better than those who do not plan, even though they really stick to their plan. So there are so many moving parts when it comes to running a business, operating a project, trying to build a client. There's so many moving factors. So we really created this project manager to try be as integrated as we really possibly could and allow you to manage each of those tasks, account for the billing and the time, assign those tasks, and really try and plan as much as you can because projects evolve over time, and the customization you can really do to these projects inside the project manager helps you streamline this and really try and make it an effective project that you can replicate and use for your business, especially when working remotely. So if you need any help defining your projects or if you have any questions, you can reach out to our team. We're over at support@greenrope.com, and there is our number. Also visit our help section. It has more details and deep dives into any of the features, as well as our blog on greenrope.com/blog has more of that step-by-step and or visit our blog at greenrope.com/blog. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you for your time and learning about the project manager, and I hope you have a good day.